Cristy Code Red, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer. And I'm going to tell you a story that it's so disturbing, but a lot of you will relate to it, unfortunately. And a lot of you will realize that I have experienced a lot of things that you guys have experienced, and I understand. When I was 18, I ran off with the guy. At the time, I didn't know that he was horrible because he had, put on such a front. He was in church, he did youth group, he was just so charming. But little did I know he was a horribly abusive man and very toxic and terrible. But I desperately wanted to leave Idaho. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to experience different things. And I wasn't exposed to very much. And I wanted to see what the rest of the world was like. And to me at that time, in my young brain, I thought that was the only option I had. So I left. Well, upon leaving Idaho and traveling clear across the country to the East Coast, I learned a few things. Now remember, we didn't have the internet back then. And I didn't, we had magazines and, things like that. And somehow I got it in my mind, because the magazines at the time had told us that's what we were supposed to look like. I had it in my mind that you are supposed to have a thigh gap. Does everybody know what a thigh gap is? For those of you who don't know, you put your legs together, you stand with your feet together, and society says you should see through your thighs, right? Kind of right below your pee-pee, like that little area, you should have a thigh gap. I have never had a thigh gap my entire life because I actually have thighs. I'm actually a voluptuous woman with great curves, and I have had them all my life. So I was so mortified that I did not have a thigh gap, according to society, that I duct taped my thighs in the middle where the thigh gap is supposed to be to try to squish them smaller to create that thigh gap. And I put on a pair of Levi 501s that have zero stretch. Believe me, ladies, back in the day, come on. Back in the 90s, we didn't have the stretch that we have now. And I put on the jeans over the duct tape. I squished both of my thighs and duct taped the living. I can't believe I didn't lose. It was like a tourniquet on my leg. I can't believe I probably did get numb. And I put on those jeans and I stood in front of the mirror and I was so happy I had a thigh gap. But I couldn't move because there was no flexibility. So all I could do is just stand there in front of the mirror. Of course, if we had Instagram, I would have taken a picture of the instant and put it on Instagram. So I could have shown that I had a thigh gap. But I really didn't have one. And I actually couldn't go anywhere looking like that because I couldn't move. We've all done some ridiculous things like this. And even more so nowadays because we are so bombarded by what society has brainwashed us into believing that is beautiful, sexy, desirable, Instagram worthy. And this kind of crap is going on way more than when I was a kid. Way more than the 80s and 90s. What can we do to combat this? I'm sitting here thinking, Cristy, what is the point of this video? I don't know. I don't know what the point of this video is. Maybe to just kind of say, hey, I get it. We have some pretty screwed up kids nowadays, and we have some pretty screwed up adults too. That's my area of expertise. I'm dealing with the screwed up adults with weight problem and self-sabotage and lack mentality and all that crap that's going along with your weight problem. But what about our kids? What are we doing about this? And moms and dads, I know you are fully aware of what is happening on social media, and you're fully aware of what your kids are going through. And you're like, Cristy, yeah, I know. And I think what can I do? And I try to do what I can as far as talking to the kids about body positivity and health. and not putting so much emphasis on the way we look, but in the same time taking pride in the way we look and putting our best foot forward and taking care of our clothes and practicing personal hygiene. I know parents, I would not want to be a parent. I didn't want to be a parent back then. I definitely wouldn't want to be a parent now. So you have your work cut out for you. But we've really got to keep working on this. We've really got to prevent this kind of stuff happening. We got to prevent, and it's happening. It's even worse. Worse is happening to our kids nowadays. No, they're committing suicide. I never would have committed suicide, but I put duct tape around my thighs, So it's definitely on a much more emergency level now, but we just need to keep at it. We need to keep spreading the message that is more body positive and health, good health, and not letting our kids drive through Carl's Jr. because we don't want them to feel bad about themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. We don't need to talk about their weight, but parents, we need to step in and make sure they get 2 healthy meals a day at home. Because we don't want kids having this bull crap, and I realize I'm mixing, the Instagram kind of mentality with health, but they all kind of go together. So we need to do what we can to keep our kids healthy so that they don't bioaccumulate body fat. But we also need to, clean up the damage that Instagram has and TikTok and different things have left our kids. So I don't know what the point of this video, except just to tell you, I get it. I understand. I know that there was damage done from society, and what they view as pretty. And I know that in tomorrow's podcast, I'm going to go over Wednesday's podcast. We're going to talk about the 3 things I would tell my teenage self. And Carrie, one of her 3 things is kind of like this. So, I don't know. I'm thinking about you guys, and I'm thinking about this, and I get it, and I'm with you, and we're gonna link arms, and we're gonna tackle this together. We're gonna get you in a better mindset, and we're gonna get your kids in a better mindset, and together we will reverse the damage, and we're gonna move forward in a more positive way. Okay, don't forget to catch that podcast Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Mountain Time.